Hi there! If you click this video, you're either curious about user interface, or maybe you get baited the thumbnail. Either way, you're in the right spot. In this video, we are diving into what user interface is, where it came from, and why it's a big part of our life. If you're ready to start, let's hit the basics first. Have you ever wondered what UI is not only fancy buttons or inputs on your screen? It's a little more complicated story. It's about feelings, perception, and your personal experience. So, if you ask me, what is user interface in simple words? I will answer. UI is how you tell your tech what to do. I guess this is a pretty simple definition. Seeing buttons, screens, or swiping on your phone. The goal? Make it so simple that even your dog could use it. A good UI saves you time and makes you happy. A bad UI? That's why you get so angry when you can't find how to book a room on a website. Wanna know how we got here? Check out next formula. Input, interaction, output. Input is responsible for any action, such as pressing a button. Interaction, the mechanism operates behind the scenes, for example, the calculation processes in a calculator device. And finally, output, you get the result based on your input. Sounds easy, right? But here's the crazy part. UI is super old, like a dinosaur old. Don't believe me? I know one might doubt this, since computer appeared almost a century ago, but I will prove it. Let's hop in a time machine. User interface isn't some new tech thing, it's been around forever. Let me give you an example. Maybe you're familiar with this item. Meet the abacus, the original calculator, popping up around 3000 BCE in places like Mesopotamia and later rocking in the ancient China. And guess what? You might play this one as a kid, or at least seen kids using them today to learn math. Picture this. You're at market selling chickens, cows and sheep, and you need to add up your cash extremely fast. The abacus was first calculator prototype. Let's move back for a moment. Abacus also has primitive interface. The previous formula also applies to this invention. Input, you slide bits around. Interaction, you do the math in your head. Output, the bits show your answer. Of course, if you figure it out how this item works. So, in simple words, we can say that user interface is interaction between human and machines. Abacus made quick calculations way easier than counting on your fingers. And it was truly revolutionary even before the advent of digital calculators. So, that's ancient UI. But what about something a bit more modern? Let's take a peek into not too distant times. Fast forward to the 1800s. Still no computers like we know them, but the typewriter was a big deal. It also has user interface elements. You press keys, typewriter stamps later onto paper, your words show up. Writing got faster and neater than scratching with a quill and ink. It was a total win for offices and writers. This old tool show user interface has always been around making life easier. Wanna see how it got even better? Let's zoom to the computer age. In the 1940s, computers like ENIAC. Yes, these huge computers that took up the whole room used punch cards. You'd punch holes in stiff paper cards to talk to the machine. One whole pattern for data, another for instructions. How did it work? You'd sit at a punch machine, tap out your code like a deranged pianist, then feed the stack into a reader. One wrong hole and total chaos. Your program crashes and you're back to square one. First computers' UI were basic but critical, like crunching numbers for World War II, ballistic trajectories or census data. Each card was a step in the process, telling the computer to add, subtract or sort. It was slow as a slot on the treadmill. One job could take days. Before the advent of punch cards changing a computer's task, Mentor connected it. like a giant printed circuit board. Punch cards allow you to program it without touching a hardware. The user interface consisted of a set of buttons and bunch of sensors, which could be confusing because at that time they were not as compact as the ones we have on our keyboards. We figured out the first computer, but what about a more interesting example? Then came the 1970s with the graphical user interface. In simple words, GUI. The Xerox Alto brought windows, icons and a mouse. No typing gibberish like dir or run. Clicking was a king. How did people interact? It's easy because this control scheme was remained virtually unchanged. You'd grab a mouse, point an icon, click to open file, or drag a window. Suddenly, your grandma could use a computer without a manual. Graphical user interface made room for early word processors, file organizers, and even basic games like tic-tac-toe. You could write a letter, save it, and find it later, all with clicks, not commands. It turned computers from nerd-only machines into tools for everyone. It's as simple as we use a computer today. It was the glow-up that made the tech friendly for normies, not for computer nerds. One moment 90s hit and the internet took over like a cat video gone viral. Suddenly we had web browsers, hyperlinks and the whole new way to get lost online. You'd click a link and BAM! You're buying socks or stuck in a chat room. It was a wild west of UI. The internet world overflowing with visual chaos at that time, but at least you could send emails without licking a stamp. You'd fire Netscape or Internet Explorer on a clunky desktop, type a URL and wait. Yeah, Google didn't exist yet, so you added everything to your bookmarks, like a storage device. The UI was a bit confusing and not very aesthetic, but we didn't see anything else. The internet turned computers into a global party. The user interface has evolved from boring desktop applications to vibrant web pages. Finally, the most exciting era. 2007. The iPhone brought Touch UI. So, no more tiny keyboards or clunky styluses. How did people interact? You tap an app to open it, swipe to scroll gallery, pinch to zoom a photo. This is why we all addicted to our phones. Touch UI powered social media apps, mobile games, navigation apps and cameras. You could snap a pic, edit it and post it, all with your fingers. It made tech intuitive. Kids and seniors could use it without a manual. Plus, it was slick and fun, like giving your phone a superpower. One moment everyone was a tech pro. Okay, what about now? Now we got voice UI like Siri and gesture UI in VR. How do you interact? Just talk. Hey Siri, play my jams. Or wave your hands in the VR set to grab virtual stuff. It's like being a Jedi. Voice UI handles reminders, music playlists or smart home controls. Gesture UI powers VR games, training simulations, even remote surgery practice. It's hands-free and inclusive. Voice UI helps blind folks navigate. Gesture UI rocks for people who can't use traditional controls. Plus, it's sci-fi cool, making tech feel like a magic. Good user interface is not just pretty, it's lifesaver. We have examined previous examples of device from different aspects of UI. And here's some crucial of them. So, user interface saves time. Booking a flight with a good UI, done in 5 minutes. Bad UI, you're still crying about inconvenient navigation. The user interface is evolving and expanding to cover more and more aspects of our lives. Next point is accessibility. Voice UI helps blind folks control tech. Touch UI rocks for shaking hands or motor issues. And finally, the icing on the cake. Fun. Swiping your fingers across the screen is much more convenient than flipping through cards. That's why we all love our gadgets. You have to admit that all these gamifications and micro interactions in apps or operation systems have become so convenient and native that we can take them for granted. Without a user interface, technology would be like communicating with an alien without a translator. A good user interface makes technology your best friend, not a puzzle. If you like this video, please don't be shy. Like it, share it, and write down something in the comments. And always have a good UI experience.